In this edition of The Customer Speaks, I will be discussing KPIs. So what are KPIs? Key process indicators? Key performance indicators? Well, the simple definition is that a key process indicator, KPI, is a measurable quantity or accountable action. Now, isn't that kind of vague? Yeah. So let me give you some examples, 3 examples. First, have you ever baked bread? I have. You know what? It's really important that the oven temperature is correct and that it holds that temperature. Otherwise, you're going to get a really bad bread and no one's going to want it. So the KPI is the temperature of the oven when you're baking bread. A second KPI would be the quality of communication with a realtor. Well, how could that be? Suppose the realtor uses surveys at the end of his sales cycle with a customer and asks the question, on a scale of 1 to 7, how satisfied were you with the communication with the realtor, with a 1 being very dissatisfied and a 7 being very satisfied? And so the KPI would be the number from 1 to 7, and you would collect that as an average over time, and hopefully that would be 6.0 or above for an average. A third example of a KPI is 2 questions that I suggest for my clients to use at the end of surveys. One would be, would you recommend the service or product to your family and friends? Yes or no. And the KPI would be the percentage of customers or clients or patients who answer yes. The last question on the survey would be, were you happy or were you satisfied with the service or product you purchased? With 1 being very dissatisfied and 7 being very satisfied. Again, as with the realtor, the KPI is the average of several responses, and you would hope that would be 6.0 or above. You might wonder, where did KPIs come from? In my experience of becoming a certified quality engineer, my understanding is that KPIs began with the Toyota Corporation. They determined that it was important to measure different quantities and quantities during the manufacturing process rather than waiting till the end when a car was made to make sure that it was high quality. So they started measuring things like the temperature of the environment when paint was being applied to a body. Was it set correctly? So the KPI was the paint temperature setting. With these efforts and adoption of KPIs and the quality of cars, you could see they turned out very good cars. Other manufacturers started picking up on using KPIs during the manufacturing process too, and the quality of products and services became very good. Eventually, businesses picked up. Instead of calling it key process indicators, they called it key performance indicators and started measuring things like customer satisfaction with service or product, or did they reach their goal of income? So KPIs has a very interesting historical background in my opinion. And if you and your business need to know more about that, let me give you this example. Let's go back to communication, which is important to any business, especially service businesses. Suppose you're a realtor, then communication is very important to your customers. I've listed 4 types of communication here: email, face-to-face, texting, and phone calls. Suppose you set it as a goal that you will answer emails from your customers within 2 hours. Then your KPI would be the percentage of times you answered emails within 2 hours. If you need help in developing or measuring KPIs for your business, I would be glad to help you in any way possible. Please contact me with the email address listed in the About below. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I hope you will.